With Divine's grace and Guru's grace only, I am continuing this journey. And for today's recording, I have chosen Ashtanga Yoga, and it is from Patanjali Yoga Sutras. We already saw Sadhana Chatushraya from Viveka Chudamani, and something similar to that is referred. And as I am a spiritual seeker, whatever knowledge helped me, I am sharing through my audios. Ashtanga Yoga is a path for self-realization, and it is highly recommended for a spiritual seeker. Ashta is 8 and Anga is limbs. Eightfold path we are going to see now. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. Yama is once again divided into Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya and Aparigraha. Ahimsa can be literally taken as non-violence, not only towards animals and trees, but even with regard to our thoughts, speech and action. Next is Satya. To have value for truth, and we should honor truth, and we should try to speak only truth. What is Asteya? Asteya is non-stealing or to be honest in our transactions. Next is Brahmacharya, and most of us take Brahmacharya as celibacy, but it also has other dimensions like self-restraint and chastity. Next is Aparigraha, that is non-storing. Storing only what we need, to limit our demands and to try to lead a simple and humble life. Yama we have completed. Now we are moving to Niyama. Yama can be looked into certain moral principles, and Niyama is going to talk about some more. Saucham, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhana. Saucham refers to cleanliness of body and mind, both. Santosha literally can be taken as happiness, but it is to work towards contentment. I find that this is the most difficult value to inculcate in life. It was an eye-opener for me when I made some foreign trips. I always thought that going to other countries, one would be more happy because by way of economic freedom, they were better. But since contentment was not there, how miserable they were in their own mother country, they were miserable there also because there was this greed. As long as we think that we must have what others have, we would never be happy. That was the lesson I got in my foreign trips. See, if only have contentment, we can be wherever we are. And trying to appreciate, to love what we have. So the next question would be whether we should not have ambitions. Definitely we must attain what we need in our life, but if we don't have contentment in our lives, there will be only unhappiness. Coming to next concept, which is tapas. This is getting into some kind of discipline. We can say austerity, penance, moving away from comfort zones, holding on to some kind of practice or regimentation to have discipline in our life. Swadhyaya is the next concept where study of scriptures is recommended. Study of oneself is also explained here, and study of scriptures, some portion of it every day, is recommended for a spiritual seeker. Ishvara Pranidhana can be taken in many ways. One thing is worshipping God, but we can also understand as our surrender to divine plan. Moving on to the next concept, we have covered Yama and Niyama. We are moving to Asana. Asana also has multiple meanings. We are restricting our recording for only touching little bit information. It means yoga poses. It's mind-boggling to know that there are 84,000 yoga poses, but it is comforting to know that only a handful is enough for our daily practices. It also means sitting position. Patanjali Yoga Sutras talks about Stiram Sukham Asanam. In order to do the practices, what kind of position we must have, and trying to get into yoga poses. That is what is recommended through this. Next we are moving on to pranayama. So we have completed certain physical activity. Now we are getting into breath. Thousands of YouTube videos are available on pranayama, and one can start some of these practices through a proper teacher to have mastery of breath or control of breath. One thing we should know why we should do. Second thing is how we should do. And of course, finally, we would reap benefits. Then comes pratyahara. This pratyahara could be linked to this contentment straight away because our senses are all the time running outside like horses. So pratyahara is to have withdrawal of senses from the externals in order to go into our inner realms. The senses distract us. The temptation of through senses is distracting us from our inner journey. So we have tried to attempt some asanas, yogasanas, trying to do something with our breath and trying to see whether we can do something with our senses. Then comes the next two concepts, dharana and dhyana. Once we say no to certain things, you would be able to concentrate on some object and dhyana happens, that is meditation happens. Dharana is to have concentration and dhyana means to stay with that object for a length of time. After having practiced all this for a length of time, now Ashtanga Yoga talks about samadhi where one tries to attain union with universal consciousness. That I sense is totally dissolved. So this is in summary, this is a beautiful set of rules and regulations or do's and don'ts for us, for a spiritual seeker. And I am sure that it will help a spiritual seeker. I would be back with some such useful recording. And I wish to thank all my listeners for having gained some kind of insight into Ashtanga Yoga.